Hello, MLFers. Welcome to Happy Hour Live Friday. Hi, Tracy.
It's Friday. It's Wednesday.
Oh my God. Did I really?
You did. Welcome to live.
On Wednesday. Golly.
Every Wednesday. Never on a Friday.
Never Friday. Oh my God. Honestly, my brain is terrifying me these days. It's terrifying me. It's just not working.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
Happens.
Can it stop? It's been just like one fuck up after the other, let's be honest. I thought we'd start on a positive note today because yesterday was very heavy for me. I kind of dumped that all over.
I would say it was heavy for everybody, not just you.
Okay. No, I know. I just
it's not a light.
I just felt like I dumped it, and a heavy day. Let's start with something more fun. I have good news.
Great.
Not as good a news as it being Friday when it's actually Wednesday, but still good news. So I have no children for 2 days, and I don't think that has ever happened.
Wow.
I know. I have such a feeling about it. It's amazing.
Well, congratulations. That's so exciting. Wow.
I'm like almost giddy about it.
Right?
I mean,
like freedom. Sure. You don't have to worry as much.
I mean, sure.
All the things.
And, gone away from the children and whatever. But I don't think that Dave and I have ever had like an extended period of time alone in our house in 22 years.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Giddy.
Fun. That's because it's for 2 days.
Right.
Yeah. Which is perfect because then you get to enjoy it. It's not like infinite. It's not daunting and scary. It's just fun for a couple days. I love it.
I'm very excited about it. Anyway, welcome to our studio audience. I believe we have somebody in the audience, which is so fun. Feel free to chat. And we won't be able to hear you or see you if you're shy. And if you want to hit the call-in button, chat with us. And hopefully a few more people. Now, I thought you and I, without planning it, had watched the Pamela Anderson documentary. And I was so charmed by it. I wanted to.
Great. I can't wait to hear. I was so excited that you were like, I want to talk about it. I'm like, great. I can't wait to hear why.
Fun. Okay. So you watched it?
Yeah.
Right. Questions?
Do what?
Do you want to start with your impressions? Did you like it? Or was it nothing?
I want to hear yours. You're the one that jumped up and down and wanted to have a live about it. So I know. So I want to hear, what was the impetus to be so excited?
Okay. Well, I had no expectations of it.
Yeah.
I sat down by myself and just wanted to watch. Let me preface this by saying I saw her once in person, and it was in the late 90s, and I was working for Merrill Lynch in New York City, and I worked in the Twin Towers there, and I would go down to my car, and the valet was right there, and it was some sort of large black car, and she was driving a Range Rover, like, big SUV or whatever, and jumped out. And there is something about people that achieve fame. They do have a certain charisma. Like, you'll turn your head not knowing who it is because there's something about that didn't happen accidentally to her, this like fame, right? And I turn and I see this person. And if I could tell you the one adjective that popped into my head when I saw this person was, she's so cute. She was so cute. She was like this little thing, and she was not wearing much makeup, and she was like freckly, and she just was like adorable. And I walked and got my card, left for my day. So I had
seen her in person. Who it was?
No, I knew who it was. I'm just saying, like, your head snaps for a reason. And then I was like, oh.
They have charismatic.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's Pamela Anderson, and she's so cute. because she like wasn't
Isn't that
done
funny?
up.
Because that's for sure not what people. That's not normally the first impression, I guess, or the reputation or whatever that people think of. But I felt the same way watching, like, just how human, right?
Yeah,
How human
that's
she
for
was in
real
her videos.
in real
Yeah.
life that she, seemed that way. I mean, of course, she had that rockin' body
Mm-hmm.
and all of that kind of stuff, but and she was just kind of like farm girly cute. I sit down, I watch this um, documentary, and you said the right thing. Like, and she was so unapologetic, and I don't feel like in all of her. I mean, what happened with the tape? I don't think through any of it she seems like victimized by it. That was amazing. I mean, but huge invasion of privacy, that tape being stolen from them. But I
Mm-hmm.
just thought she was so honest and raw and enthusiastic about her life and where she is now, apologetic. And I was so her using very clear on what it was that people wanted from her, also flipping the script and getting what she wanted out about. And I want to talk about all these things in detail, but her commitment to PETA and all of that kind of stuff. So I just learned by her throughout the.
Me too. Yeah. And I was happy for her with all the nonsense, right? Because you think in that world, you know, people say whatever they want about you, I guess in any world, right?
Mhm.
It happens to us too, but not in such a big scale, right? So the whole world is talking about you however they want to. And for her to be brave enough to say, hey, I'm going to just tell it my way. And whatever you think of me and whatever you believe is up to you, but I'm just going to put my side out there. And I was really happy for her that she had the guts to do that. And honestly I almost felt kind enough to do that, to
Mm,
let, to, because I feel like most famous people are like, fuck you, do what, think what you want of me. It's not the truth. But it
right.
holds them in a shell even more. Like it almost
Mm-hmm.
cages them in even more, right? Because now only the 3 people that know them, And so I thought it was really, I want to say kind of her to give a shit to say, this is the truth from
Mm-hmm.
my point of view, from inside my heart. And I thought, that is really cool. And I was really, yeah, that made me want to like be her friend and hang out with her. And, it just
Yeah.
seemed so human and so humble. Um, and yeah, a lot of hard things, lots of hard things,
Well, let's
but the
start. Should we start? Yeah.
bravery. Yeah, let's do it.
So let's talk
Where
about
do you
like
want to
the.
start?
I want to talk. Let's start with what everybody thinks about her, which is the outside, right? So like the boobs and the body. So let's
Mm-hmm.
start there. What I found amazing about
Okay.
that experience was, she was called to do Playboy. Like that's how it all started, was with Playboy, right? And I was amazed at her lack of inhibition. I'm so sad, and I mean she suffered abuse and that horrible. But when she got there to Playboy, like she was so. She said that she wanted to be like naked all week, and I was like, wow, talk about brave, with no shame, and I really miraculous. Not that she had anything to be ashamed
Yeah,
of,
well,
but
it
I'm just
sounded
saying
like
it was
it.
like, yeah.
But for her,
Right.
she explains that it was like a healing experience because she felt empowered, where her power had been taken away because she had been abused as a child
Yes.
and sexually abused and and then raped by a boy later, an older man, and just one after another, where she, as you do, jump out of your body when that happens
Mm.
and you disassociate, and so you don't have you don't have power over your body. You feel completely powerless, right? And so
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that there was a click for her in that
Yes.
moment where it was like, this is my body and I get to do what I want with it. And it, and that was the choice. And that felt cool. Yeah. I felt like
So
good for
cool.
her, whatever it was.
Right. And even though that image of her in print was being used to object, she never, I didn't get the sense that she ever felt that way. Like like you said, she felt like, I did this. I out there, I feel beautiful like this. And I was like, rock on, that's amazing. I loved that. I was
Yeah.
super pissed off. Did you catch the part where Playboy never paid her really for all of the like videos they made out of it and all of the way that they, exploited that image of her and she didn't get fucking paid?
Mm, I I missed that, but it felt like there was a lot of things, that
Yes, it made me so angry.
it feels like a repeat of a lot of things and a lot of
Mm,
stories for her that
yeah,
she just sort of got screwed out of a lot of stuff she deserved.
totally.
Um,
This was also interesting to me. So she was hanging out at the Playboy mansion with all these other beautiful women. And she tells like this story about like going to the gym and seeing them all work out and have these beautiful bodies. I didn't get the sense that she was comparing and making herself feel like she was less than them. Instead, she was so appreciative of other women's beauty.
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
thought that,
Or maybe inspired, like she felt like, I
yes,
don't think she felt she wasn't part of the team. She felt like, yay, this exists. It's almost those
yeah,
like limiting thoughts and those, freeing thoughts where you believe you are one of them or you believe you aren't. And like you're saying, she was like, oh, I can live here. Like there are women that exist that feel good about their bodies, that aren't ashamed, that don't feel powerless, that feel, and so she saw it as like a cool, right, way to, like, she had a community of people that showed her something that she
yeah.
felt proud of.
I just loved it though, but the way she explained it, it wasn't about because she says that that's why she ended up plastic surgery, which you could argue she was well endowed prior to that. But it wasn't from I didn't get it from a space of like, oh, I need to do something to be like them. It, like you said, she was inspired, and I just thought, like, she's a champion of other women. She was like so. She's like they were so beautiful. She was in awe of them. I just thought, gosh, she's lovely. Like she's
Right. And
not
I
sitting
love
there.
I love that the other woman said to her, well, we've all had work done. Like, don't have,
Yeah.
these aren't our boot. And I love that piece too, because it was like a community, right? That was a
Yes.
share. That wasn't you suck, you're less than, you're not part of the cool kids club. It was like, hey, this is how we all did it. Don't be silly. Like, this is, come here. Let me tell you
Yes.
how this, like, and it's almost like she giggled when she told that story. It was like, well, sign me up. Like, like this is you all made this choice. I can make that choice for me too. And I'm sure there are a lot of other experiences where it does feel shaming and it does feel less than. And I'm sure there's women that do it because they think it's going to make them feel a certain way. But I think what we pulled out of her story is that it wasn't that. It was more of I get to choose, I get to decide. It was from a very full place,
Yeah.
not an empty place, which is
Yes.
fascinating considering all the things that happened to her too, and all the
Right.
trauma.
And how objectified she, was, is, will be. I just, you're like, she seemed to me like she'd be a good friend, right? Like, she just loved her.
Totally. Keep it real,
Yeah.
very resilient, super brave.
So the other thing I found fascinating was all the talk show clips where
Hmm.
fuck them. And especially
I know, so
that
brutal.
Larry King interview, and he's like, kind of dancing around. Like all they want to do is talk about her boobs. And she just flat out looks them dead in the eye and is like, what do you want to know, Larry? Are they implants? Yeah, they're implants. Can we move on? Like she was so open
Right.
talking about her outside and had so much more to share on the inside. And I just love that probably, I'm sure that happens a lot more now. I would venture to say that was pretty rare of someone to basically tell those men, those talk show hosts, making jokes of her. And they show all the clips of Jay Leno making fun of her and Tommy and everything. To basically say there in a public forum, boy, you really sound like an asshole. Let's just get over this, what it is you're really asking me. I don't know. I loved that.
Yeah. She's really brave. um I also feel bad because for sure that didn't change the energy coming at her. And you know and how hard, I can't even imagine how hard it was to you know reconcile what it feels like inside and have people just treat you like that. I mean, it's like talk about bullying and it's just
Ah, and
and
trying to
and
shame her, and she wouldn't have it.
I know. I love that, but it's a hard one to watch, right? That I feel like it's okay to do. And I think even just in this climate, I don't know that it would have she wouldn't have gotten as much shit. And she really she took the brunt of it, where I think it's you wouldn't be allowed to do that even just in this era. Um,
Yeah.
So I'm happy for her that she's kind of also sticking it to him and showing up and having a resurgence, because in this climate it's sort of a fuck you because you can't touch me now, because
Yeah.
you're not allowed to talk to me that way anymore because I got a whole bunch of people around me to protect me, and people don't stand up for this anymore, and they don't let that happen, right? It wouldn't be cool of Jay Leno to do that. It wouldn't be cool, right? It wouldn't be
Right.
okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
also,
he
what fucking balls on her to do that then?
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And even when she was feeling like her career was over because of the video, no one was taking
Mm.
her, like you were saying. So when they weren't taking her seriously anymore, and she was like, well, then I'm just going to use what I have to do something that's important to me. And I'm going to step into, okay, they're making fun of me, but I'm still famous for it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to use my fame for something good and something that fills my heart up, because fuck you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, yes, you
Well, and I
will,
loved,
and
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it just feels so brave to me. And what an amazing human being.
Clever. I love when she had the book signing and she's like, fine, I'll sign your book, but you're going to sign my petition for PETA. And I was like, you're amazing. Like, just
Smart,
so
right?
smart. So smart. Um, let's talk about love, because that is something I think she's got a tremendous amount of self love, which is incredible. But I
Mhm.
think that love is something that she talks about, like kind of elusive in her life. And watching her talk about Tommy, I found that heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. But I love that she's like never gives up on it either. She's
Mm.
like committed to love, and she's like open to it. And even if she fails, she is the perfect example of just keep trying. Just keep trying. Like she giggles about it and like, yeah. And then I married so and so. And then I
Yeah.
married, it's like, and then I was in love with so and so, and that didn't work out. And so I tried this. And but like, and I love that her sons
Oh,
were a part
yes.
of and and how you can tell that she just keeps it real with them and shares it honestly and talk about love. You can see how much they feel that, right? They're grounded in it, and they can laugh about it, and they can love her and themselves. Just it felt it, I always like to look at someone's kids to see what has transitioned, and what kind of parenting you can really feel it on the children. And I just thought, what a perfect example. Like some, crazy ass loving parents.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and
I loved her relationship with her boys. Like, it was so real. And you could tell, like, she's a really good mom, right? Like, she desperately wanted
yep,
those children. She fought to get those children. And that is like a mama bear. Like, you do not mess with her and her children.
totally.
I
Oh, obviously not.
respect that.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
like completely. And the fact that, the one occurrence and she was gone, even how much she did love Tommy and how much Tommy loved her. And I was like, wow. I have had that moment too of like, isn't it fascinating how, I mean, she's put up with so much crap, even in the love department, and so I want to say like how hard it can be for us to be really clear and have really good boundaries when it's about us, but then you bring some children in
Mm.
and it seems to fucking clear it up really quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like maybe me, but not them,
Yeah.
And I think and she was I watched the example of that truth where it's like, I may have a hard time using my mouth for that, and saying what I need to
Mhm.
about that. But when it comes to my kids, here we go. No problem.
Yes.
And I found that really awesome to watch in action. And
Well,
how hard that must have been too.
when you talk all the time about like modeling and modeling for your children, I think that there could have been a dynamic where you have, boys and then young men and young adults, and to have that her as a mother who's an objectified, character to most people, to feel a lot of shame about her. And she was so unapologetic about who she was and so unashamed of who she is. They did that too. Like they're proud of her. I've been stalking her Instagram
Totally.
since, and they're always like, "Yay, mom, good for you, proud of you." Like they're adorable.
So cute. But I think there's the thing that we also talk about is that um, being apologetic and being truthful with your kids and being honest. And
Mm.
even in the documentary where she's like, doing the Playboy was so good for me and it meant so much to me, and then I wasn't thinking that one day I would have boys and they would be
Mm-hmm.
little and they would go to school and their mom would be this person, and they'd have to deal with these pictures and these videos
Shitty
and stuff.
kids,
And so she,
teasing
yeah,
them
but
and
you can tell that she kept it real with them, and
mm-hmm.
it wasn't shameful, but it was honest, right? And I I like that she spoke to that too, where it was like, oopsie,
Yeah.
just keeping it real again. Like she was funny about it. Like, oh crap, I hadn't thought about it all the way, through my life. In that moment, it was the right thing. And then I realized, oh God, that's gonna affect them. And so, but yet show up for it and be honest and, look, you can have well-adjusted humans if you can keep it real and keep it honest. I don't know. That
Yeah,
was pretty cool.
I have amazing. Then she does this funny thing where she says that she doesn't know what's going to happen next, but then she like manifests. She uses the word, "I manifested this opportunity," and she's at Chicago on Broadway, and she does.
Yeah.
She's not a
Yeah.
singer.
And she doesn't know
She's
how to
not a
sing. Yeah.
dancer, but she's going to go on Broadway.
Yeah.
I was like kind of nervous about it. I was like, oh, I was like,
Yeah.
she didn't seem nervous about it ever, really.
She just was in, right? It'll be what it'll be. And she was kind of giggling about it. Like, I'm going to give it my all and I'm going to go for it. And it'll be what it'll be. What is it? A week of my life? We'll see
Right?
what happens.
So she,
Yeah.
like we
And
always
she
say,
killed
just say
it. It was so
yes.
great.
She said yes.
I know. And gosh, just the beginning of a new chapter, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure that there were
Yes.
many people that probably went to see, wait, like there's always a contingency. And instead, she was great. Loved it.
Right.
And as she says,
Right.
did it for
Standing
her.
ovations.
Did it for her. She
Right.
says that for me.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And that has energy on it. People can feel it. And I love that, the underdog kind of feeling where, you may go thinking, I don't know, and that no expectation, just like you showing up to the Netflix show. It's like, I don't know what to expect. And being able to have that openness of like, wow, this is awesome. And, I think it's an even wider spans when you think, oh, this has been a person that has been a caricature and made fun of, and only watch her running slow motion, and and
Yeah.
then to watch her as a human show up and push herself and go for it, and just like, I think it's even more uh exciting, right, to see that happen, the underdog kind of come through, and of course it feels like a standing ovation to me too. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
Go for
Good
it.
for you.
So cool.
I think
I
she's
kind of
some.
wanted to talk still
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
love
Oh, let's go
because
back.
I also had another piece where it takes place at her mom's house.
Mm.
And it's an important part where she talks about how in all the hard moments in her life, she goes to her mom's house.
Yeah. That's making you feel something. What's that making you feel, Tracy?
Everything. It's special, right? That
Like her
she has
mom was a
that
safe place
safe
for her.
place. Yeah. And she can regroup and get grounded there, and she knows that there's love there.
Even though
So
it sounds like
cool.
she had a pretty rocky childhood and that her abusive, she tells. But her
Mm-hmm.
mom, and even you can see it in the comment, like how her mom talks to her now, like her mom's got her back. She could tell her mom, I'm
Totally.
going to the moon tomorrow. Her mom be like, that's amazing. Can I get a sandwich? Judgment
Yep.
from that mother. There's no competition from that mother.
Nope.
Yeah.
Stood out.
Well, and I think that for you and I know, and I think for our generation of women listening here, our mission in parenting is to be that safe landing place.
Yeah.
It's like you want your best and you want them to go off and do all the things that they're going to do, but you also want them, I think that they can do that more successfully. And I think a lot of her disposition was because she knew if it all crashed and burned, she had somewhere safe to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yay, Pamela's mom.
Yeah, for sure. And to all those kind of moms.
Yeah. And in the chat, someone wrote, our moms are supposed to make us feel secure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how it translates. My belief is it translates into her being able to go to the moon and being able to
Mm-hmm.
fail, because we need to be able to fail in order to be successful in all the ways, and we need to mess up to learn and to know that's okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it was a beautiful part of her life was sharing that.
Yeah, that feels so obviously emotional to me. It just feels so important and juicy for us all to know those places and how that translates to our kids, to ourselves, all that.
Yeah. Well, she certainly benefited from
Who knew
that.
Pamela was going to make me cry?
No, Pamela makes me want to cry a lot. I mean, I thought it was really, everything about her was moving. It's not to say though, you know, she didn't reach the success. She isn't who she is despite of where she came from. She is because of where she came from, it seems, and all of those experiences. And we all are the sum of our experiences, but it also, you can flip this and change a cycle. All of us can change a cycle in our lives. Um,
Sure. And we can lean into each other. I was just thinking, even just the Playboy call. Remember, she called her mom and was like, Mom, they want me to go. And she was like, Go,
yeah,
live your life, go, jump. I would have, my story is different, go. And I was like, that's so great. And even if it isn't your mom or it isn't your dad or, it is, or
mm-hmm.
whatever, whoever you get it from, like, make sure you lean in and you have those relationships, so you have that place. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your friend, maybe whatever, your sister, your brother, like whatever it is um that help you launch, right, and help you jump. And um even us sitting here chatting with you all the time, it's like the idea is to support, so you feel courageous.
Well, unless, which is possible too. It seems like Pamela and her mother are missing judgment chip, because I feel like, not that anyone was going to ask, I had ever called my mom and said they want me to do Playboy, she'd be like, "Are you crazy? Why would you do that? What will people think?" And I think Pamela learned that from her mom, is like, do whatever you want, no judgment.
Yeah,
I think Pamela
for
kind of
sure.
seems to go through life like that.
Right. Yeah.
So in
Such a
the
good
chat,
example of that.
yeah, in the chat was
Yeah.
written, I'm going through this with my daughter now. We're trying to figure out how to maneuver her flying the nest. Well, a little bit, because I have two tethered to the nest but flying. My two older children away at college. I think the trick is that it's not a physical hold, it's an emotional connection, not even a hold, to your children. And there is no physical, you can't have to let them go. And sometimes they're not ready to go. Kind of have to wait and keep feeding them the worms until they are. That's my opinion.
And I think what
And every kid is
and I
different,
think
every
what you're
relationship
saying
is
is
different.
yeah, and I think what you're saying too is that communication, right? The closeness comes from the making sure you make time to talk to each other and you send texts and you part of their life and they know that you're there and that you don't disconnect in that way.
Yeah.
And yet the importance is you've got this, right? Go live your life and I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm right here. We can talk through anything. I'm here, like we were saying, like having a safe landing spot if you need it so that you can jump,
Yes.
and that you can really go. And so, and I think everyone needs, the kids are all different, right? So some need a lot more check-in and they need, little gifts through the mail and they need to feel you being there. And so you just show up, whatever feels right for them and try on things and talk to them about it. What are you missing? Which, is there anything I can do to make that better? And then maybe it's just that intentional making time to, chat and even if it's hard, then, you have your texts, you have your FaceTime, you have, all the things now. So making sure they feel your presence.
Yes.
But also let them know, go for it.
Yeah. Well, I think Pamela of that. Kept the nest there for her and let her go.
Yeah. So communicating all the time. That's what in the chat says, and we're trying to give her the space that she wants. Yeah. I mean, it's trying, right? But just know that it is a try, right? And practice. So keep trying things on. And if it feels too disconnected to you, then send little stuff in the mail or do whatever feels right to you for you also.
Yes.
But if they're asking for more space, then,
I'm just kind of
figure
curious
out
though,
something that works both ways.
The child we're talking about, I'm just kind of curious. Is she like 12 and wants space? She's 19. Yeah. I know. And I think like, okay, you're living at home, but you want to have your separate life, but you're living at home, but you want your separate life. Like, and then it becomes, I always say to my kids, like, just don't be a shitty roommate. Like, I get it. You have your life, you're big, you've got other things going on, but you are living here in my home. Don't be a shitty roommate. So and it is like they are, like you said, trying it all on. Except Anderson, who can bolt and go do Playboy, just like that.
Might be a different opportunity for someone.
She's become a shitty roommate, it says in the chat. Well, feel free to use that.
There you go.
I say it to them directly like that. Don't be a shitty roommate.
Yeah. And maybe she needs more words.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Maybe be clear with what a shitty roommate means to you, right? Yeah. And so that you can use that shorthand moving forward, being like, this is what I'm expecting from a good roommate, right?
Yes, totally.
You're going to be a roommate.
So I want to
talk about treat you like that.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? Because you're not a kid anymore in my house. If you want to be a roommate and be an adult in my house, this looks different. So let's clear that up. So I'm not talking to you. Yeah, she's going to use it, right? Shitty roommate. Yay, kitty. Yeah. And just be clear what they mean and why they're different.
Absolutely. So the other thing I found fascinating about Pamela was she talks about aging. And so some on her looks, you could say, like people not giving her the credit that there was so much more looks, but the looks being her entree into all these opportunities and stuff, and her being like fully okay with all that. But she does talk about aging. I thought, like in an interesting way, because at times she did seem to be questioning it, but she also seemed, she said she was like kind of relieved, or maybe I read that, relieved to be getting older. That it just doesn't, that's not the part that matters. I thought she had like such good perspective, as we all are have perspective. Like the candy coating looks better have a soft, chewy inside, and she's so clear inside, and she's like, it's just the candy coating. And I just thought, for somebody who has been objectified for her looks and her, she was so grounded in that, and I love that about her too.
Yeah.
Like she didn't seem real hung up on it like everyone else is. Like she's not hung up on her looks and her body like people have, hung up on her looks and body.
Yeah. I think what you were saying before is that like that did not for her like become who she was. That's not what it meant to her. And so the piece that it sounds like and feels like to me that's going away is like people are letting it go away because she's old enough that now people aren't expecting and caring and their energy isn't on that. And that's got to be a like, thank God for her. I'm a human underneath this. And so although it wasn't the most important thing for her, like you were saying, she was constantly going, can we move on from this? Are you done?
Yes.
Like, you've seen it all. Why do we have to talk about it? It's over.
Right.
So of course this feels like a way exciting chapter ahead for her, to me. Like enough with the bullshit. Let's move on. So super cool. And hopefully we all feel that way. Like, let's feel good about ourselves.
She should be like our champion of midlife. Like she's like, in all of this, I'm trying new things. I'm saying yes. I'm moving on. I expect love in my life. I expect to have opportunities. I just thought, she's really inspiring.
And I have to say, she is. And by the way, she still looks amazing.
Oh, she's adorable.
I think she's more beautiful than ever. And she, looks beautiful. Yeah. Like we say, the inside comes out, and you can really see that on her now. Mm-hmm. She's allowing that part of herself to just glow through.
I wonder, it seemed like she showed up to the first on, and she's without makeup, mostly direct communication. I wonder if that was a surprise to the filmmakers, because I think she kind of says, I'm just going to come here, no makeup. Like she was, again, unapologetic about it. And I wonder if surprised by that. I mean, she has nothing to hide. She's a gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
Not that it matters.
But I have a feeling she was like, I'm doing it my way. We're not doing this. That's what it felt like to me.
I feel like people in that position would be like, well, makeup, like she is barefaced.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Well done.
I feel like she said it was it's called Pamela, a love story. I feel like this episode is like a love letter to her. I just thought she was amazing.
Agreed.
So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
No judgment. And if you have any thoughts about it, or you see it and you want to talk about it, you can always email us, always DM us. And do you think she and Tommy are going to get back together?
Nope.
We'll leave it on that note. Anything to add from the audience before we close out for?
But I do have to say, I think there's a lot of love between the two of them still. And I didn't mean that in a negative way at all. I think that there's a lot of love there.
Yeah. But like they parented well together, I think.
Sure, that was difficult, but it sounds like yes. But yeah, it sounds like there's kindness, which is nice.
In the chat, it says that she's going to watch it. She's never been a big fan of Pamela's. just,
Yeah, I totally get that.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting. You'll have to come back next week and tell us what you thought.
Yes, please. All right, everybody. I hope you have a Wednesday that feels like a Friday, clearly.
Yeah. And let us know how the shitty roommate goes.
Yes.
For sure. Email us or come back next week and let us know.
That'll be my parenting. That'll be my parenting.
I love it. It's perfect.
Teach your kid not to be a shitty roommate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here every Wednesday. Having themes, but doesn't mean we have to talk about just the themes. Like our studio audience today had some parenting questions that sort of weaved in perfectly with what we were talking
Whatever
about.
Comes
parenting
up.
Was definitely the documentary, and we're here always. So every Wednesday.